Hey guys, Dan here. Today we'll talk about the Simucube passive throttle, which makes the whole Simucube pedal bundle a little bit less expensive, but let's see if the pedal is actually good. So first of all, disclaimer, this pedal was provided by Simucube for the review. I do not get to keep it, it's just a loaner unit and I will send it back after this review. As usual, all the opinions are my own and Simucube does not get to see this video before it's posted. The price is 334 euros in Germany, including taxes, or you can get the bundle of one active pedal, the passive throttle and the base plate for a little over 2,900 euros. Still a lot of money, but not as crazy as if you had to buy multiple of the active pedals. You can use the code DAN5 on checkout. That gives you 5% of the purchase of any Simucube products, and it gives me a slight commission, so thanks for using that. So I don't want to make this a terribly long video. I mean, what is it? It's a throttle pedal. Is it good? Yes. That's pretty much the TLDR or TLDW. But what do we have here? It's a very nicely built throttle pedal in this nice matte black finish, perfectly matching the active pedal. It measures the angle of the pedal. Obviously, it's a throttle by using a load cell and a little spring in the bottom here. A little similar to how the Azatec Forte brake actually works. Then we have all the adjustments that you need. Everything is done very well and very satisfying to change. I'll show you everything that you can adjust. That is the height of the pedal face. There are two screws in the back. Loosen those. And then you can adjust up, down of the pedal. It does have these little spring balls like the active pedal, so it locks into place in specific positions, but you can also mount it in between those positions if you want to, but I guess the height adjustment of the pedal face, I mean, if you have these presets, it's perfectly fine to just use those. Second thing, you can adjust the angle. Loosen these screws here on either side. Same thing here, 3 predetermined positions. It feels satisfying to change this. I don't know who would want to have an angle like this, but you can set it to this. I think the default is perfectly fine, so let's lock it back into place. Next thing, resistance of the pedal can be adjusted in 2 ways. Well, actually in 3 ways. There are 2 springs included in the package, a weak spring and a very weak spring. I wish there was a little stronger spring in here. The resistance, it's okay, but I wish it was a bit stronger. On my active pedal, I use 13 kilograms of pressure on the throttle, and I would love to be able to set this on the passive pedal as well. But it's not as bad as something like the VRS pedal that is very weak. But still, I wish there was maybe a 3rd spring in the box. I mean, for 335 euros, I think that's not too much to ask for people that like a stiffer throttle, but not the case at the moment. But yeah, you can either use one of those 2 springs, or you can adjust the preload onto the spring here. That also affects the stiffness of the pedal. There's no counter nut here, but it's also not really needed because the spring somehow holds this nut. You can see it's like, so for me it didn't occur that the preload changed itself like on the Cube pedals, for example, so no problem here. I think that's actually a very easy to use and well done solution. And the third possibility, again, we do have a screw here. Loosen that, and then you can slide the whole rod up and down. Okay, loosen it a bit more. And pretty much the higher you attach this to the pedal arm, the more force you need to press the pedal. Let's put this to the highest position, lock it into place, and I mean, should we measure it? We shall measure it with my insanely high precision force meter. Okay, so we will apply the pressure here and go to the very limit. Slightly before, so I don't peak it too much. And we can see it is 7.25 kilograms. Maybe like a spring that is twice as stiff would be good, but for most sim racers, I guess this will be fine. All right, the next thing you can adjust is the pedal travel. This is done very nicely with this orange ring here. So you rotate it one side, and then this little threaded thing inside the spring is changing the position, so this is relatively low travel on the throttle. And if you put it to the other extreme, you do get tons of travel. So I think everybody will find a travel setting that works for them. And the last thing that you can adjust is the whole angle of the pedal. Again, 2 screws, one here, loosen it, one on the other side, loosen it, and the whole thing. Oh, do you hear the clicks? It's the little things. It's very satisfying to adjust. I want to adjust these pedals all the time. But no, for real, it's just a very well built pedal. So adjust this to your liking, lock it into place. And yeah, that's all the adjustments you can do. Mounting it, very easy. It just plugs into the back of the active pedal, and then you can calibrate in the software and also adjust the pedal response curve. That's pretty much it. You can adjust the shape of the curve. You can do super weird stuff with it if you want to. I mean, I always, on the throttle, I just use linear. That works best for me, but you can do linear, exponential, or whatever. You can adjust the dead zone, so all the options are there. You can also use it as a clutch. I mean, there's no bite point simulation or something, but you could, in theory, mount this to the left side of your pedals and use it as a clutch. I only tried it as a throttle. It has some advantages and some disadvantages compared to the active pedal. The advantages is, well, I mean, it's significantly cheaper. It is smoother, like you're just compressing the spring. There's no motor that you're turning with that little axis. That feels more like a normal throttle, and it also does have plenty of adjustability. So I think for most people, one passive throttle and one active brake is probably the sweet spot between price and performance, if we can talk about price performance when paying 3,000 euros for pedals. But yeah, it also has a disadvantage, that is, in my opinion, the loudness. It can be a bit loud, especially when you're going from the 100% throttle back to 0. I mean, it's probably a little exaggerated here. I mean, on the rig, if I do this super quickly, it's even louder because the whole rig resonates. But you will never quickly go from 100 to 0 in a regular driving scenario. If you do, then you need to probably look at your driving inputs. When you're wearing headphones or something, you don't hear it. Even in the microphone while driving, normally you don't hear it. But it's definitely a loud throttle pedal compared to other pedals. There are louder throttle pedals, but I think most throttle pedals that I've tried are actually quieter than this. And the second thing, like I said, I wish there was a stronger spring, but you can always buy an aftermarket spring and replace it yourself. I do wish it maybe had an adjustable damper as well, but many throttle pedals don't have that. You rarely see it. It's nice, especially if you're used to it from the active pedal where you can adjust the damping, but it's definitely not a deal breaker here. So yeah, for me, I will go back to the active throttle because I just like the adjustability. I like that I can run my 12 to 13 kilograms of pressure there. I like that I can adjust the damping on pressing and on releasing. I think for my use case, where this would make most sense is as a clutch, because I rarely use a clutch. I don't want to spend another 2 grand on an active pedal as a clutch, so as a third pedal, for me, this would make sense for that. But I will just go back to the 2-pedal set with 2 active pedals and most likely be happy forever with that configuration because I really, really love these Simucube pedals. But yeah, if you have any questions, join the Discord if you want to, or leave a comment down below. There also will be a German version of the video that does not only cover the throttle, but the whole active pedal set. So make sure to subscribe to my German channel as well if you're interested in that. That's pretty much it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, maybe hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye bye.